Jar Oil. The company have filling stations across the country, and our rates are relatively cheaper than anyone else across the country. Jar Oil is the biggest producer and distributor of cement in the country with the most competitive prices in the market.
Sant yàlla.
looy xaar utal Wave nga scan nga fay nag doo ci yokku dara.
If you're an entrepreneur and your business is not yet registered, if you're looking to grow your registered business, or you're an accomplished professional, our Elevate program supports you with access to finance, access to markets, access to capacity building. Sign up now or refer a friend at ecobank.com/elevate. Elevate by EcoBank. A better way, a better Africa.
Have you seen the UDP statement on, these border issues?
Yes, and I like the statement.
I was going to say you have always been harsh on the UDP.
I think I'll commend. When I read it, I was like, yes, this is wisdom. This is the message that should come out. You see, because UDP seem to understand complex diplomatic issues, and if you read their statement, it shows they understand these issues. Unlike those who don't understand these issues, who go on sentiment, and who
are those who go on sentiment,
and who act like demagogues.
Who?
Like, for example, the UMC leader making a reckless statement.
They are now only called Unite, not UMC.
Whatever the name.
Unite.
Yes. So that was a reckless statement. I mean, and I think it's in fact, that demonstrates and confirms our position. It is dangerous to give the country to inexperienced people like that, because they'll burn this country.
Like who?
Like Talib. They'll burn this country. Because, I mean, this incident happened. Within a couple of hours, you did not even find out, consult, see what's happening. You just came out just to satisfy social media followers, to say, I'm the first to respond to this, I'm the first to do that. You see, you don't run a country like that. If anybody is given a country and you run your country like that, this country is doomed. And if you listen to UDP, it shows that they are more experienced in these issues, and they dealt with the issue in a manner in which a leader should deal with these issues. And we commend them for that.
So replacing Barrow with Ousainou Darboe makes a lot of sense.
I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that in this particular situation, the way the UDP reacted to the situation, it shows they understand complex diplomatic issues, and the language was really well crafted to deal with the situation in a manner that aligns with Gambia's position to deal with it amicably and in a diplomatic channels. And like I said, this is the situation. But those who are online saying that, what would you do today if you are president of the republic? And this, would you take your arms and go and attack Senegal?
No, UDP wouldn't do that. Which would suggest that UDP is ready for government. Is UDP ready for government?
Government is broad and complex. One situation cannot be a determinant factor to say you are ready for government just because you dealt with one particular situation in a professional manner. So obviously, I wouldn't go into that. But what I'm trying to tell you is that Gambians should be very wary and understand that leadership is not about social media likes and trying to please social media followers and the likes you get. It's about wisdom. It's about being calculative. It's about understanding issues. And it's about restraint, even in the most difficult times. Sometimes you have your neighbor and you have an incident. You have a land dispute with where is my demarcation dispute. And you've been talking about this for, let's say, 5 years. And then maybe for some reason he wakes up one morning and brings your fence down. What would you do? Would you go and bring his fence down and then you start fighting? Your neighbor, you've been living for 50 years. So when that happens, sometimes it's not like you are weak. No, it's because you are looking at the bigger picture. You are exercising restraint and trying to resolve the matter with your neighbor amicably. that will be the best for your children and for the family and for the entire neighborhood. Fighting with your neighbor for that particular incident will not really yield anything for any of you. And I really commend UDP's statement because it really shows that in this particular incident, they understand complex issues and they dealt with it in a manner in which...
I'm going to ask the question in a different way. So would you say, among all the opposition, only the UDP might be ready for government?
I'm not saying that. Like I said, government is big and complex. Dealing with one particular issue, rightly, it's not a determinant factor to say that you are ready for government. Government is big. Government is really big. This is just a minuscule aspect of governance.
So we have several platforms through which Senegal could have sought resolution of this issue. We have the Senegalo-Gambian Permanent Secretariat, don't we? We have the, how do you call it, Senegalo-Gambia Presidential Council? Or what's the official name?
Presidential Council.
And, extend it further, there is ECOWAS. Why did it choose to go unilaterally in the manner it has?
Well, I cannot speak for the Senegalese government, and I cannot really read the... I cannot...
Let me add to the question. Yeah. The issue of the border, demarcation and all of that, has it ever been discussed during our meetings with them?
Yeah, of course. It's an ongoing thing. Okay. It's not like... That is why we read this...
So do they feel that we are dragging our feet on things we're supposed to have done?
And their statement implicitly points to that this has been a simmering thing. It's been ongoing for many, many years, and they see that progress has not been made. That is from their point of view.
So they've been pressing for demarcation, and we seem not to be interested in...
We are very interested, but sometimes things can...
So what have we done so far to determine where our border ends and theirs starts?
We've been working together with them to do this. It's not only us. This is something that we have to do together. The reason why they went and did what they did, I cannot explain that. But what I can confirm with you is that the Gambia has been taking this very seriously, and I've been working diligently to the right institutions like the Border Commission to really do the demarcation and the densification and all those things that are supposed to be done.
The Border Commission is 100% Gambian, isn't it?
Yeah. So we've been working with their own, with their team.
So we have these, bilateral institutions that we created to smooth whatever roughs, come up between us.
I agree with you. That, like I said,
Senegalo-Gambian Permanent Secretariat.
We would have preferred that approach. Yeah. But again, like I said, we cannot explain what somebody else has done. They only them can explain that. What I can confirm to you is that we are taking this very seriously, and we are going to resolve the issue amicably, and I can guarantee you that. And we have started, that process has started even long ago. Now, it's an incident that nobody wants. It has happened. And like I said, two wrongs doesn't make a right. So the manner in which we are approaching this issue is the most desirable approach, and we'll resolve the issue.
Because there are even suggestions that we're just victims of the power struggle going on in Senegal. And
like I say, suggestions. I mean, when things like this, there are people speculate. There's lots of, but those speculations doesn't seem to be right, and that is not the fact, because the border issue has been going on for a while, and we've been discussing it, and we'll resolve it. I think Gambians should just remain calm and stop the alarmist approach in this situation. It's been calm. We are going to resolve it, and now we've activated. In fact, we've already activated most of these institutes that are supposed to work with it. Now we are going to make sure this thing is resolved once and for all, and we move on.
My questions to Dr. Ceesay are as follows. 1, when was the Gambian government first notified, and what immediate actions did the GAF and Ministry of Interior take? 2, what diplomatic channels are being used right now to address this matter? 3, what measures are being put in place to strengthen border surveillance to prevent future occurrences? And 4, how will this incident affect Gambia-Senegal bilateral relations, especially given our close security cooperation under ECOMIC? So let's take it one by one. When was the Gambia government first notified, and what actions did
I think
the Gambia Armed Forces and the Ministry of Interior take?
So what happened?
Should it be the Ministry of Defense rather than...
Ministry of Defense, because this has to do with territorial issues.
This is defense, yes.
Territorial defense. The government was informed after the incident, or during the course of the incident, and what we...
By the Gambia Armed Forces, which suffered demolition of its own...
just exercise restraint and don't react. And I think we commend the armed forces for that, and we commend the leadership of the armed forces for that, to exercise restraint in that particular situation. And after that, we are using diplomatic channels, the Senegalo-Gambian Secretariat, the Senegalese High Commissioner.
That answers question 2, what diplomatic channels are being used right now.
Yeah, exactly. So those are the Senegalese High Commissioner here in Banjul, and also the Senegalese government. There are, and so we are really in touch with them.
What about Barrow just dialing Jomai, picking up the phone and,
Well, what I can tell you is that we've engaged.
Okay.
And these engagements are constructive.
Question number 3, what measures are being put in place to strengthen border surveillance to prevent future occurrences?
Well, I think this is not the only incident. That has always been happening. Remember, we have a very, very long border, and surveillance can be sporadic. You cannot have a country that can give 100% surveillance across all its borders. What we can assure the public is that this incident will not occur again, and it's under control, and we are resolving it.
And the last question, how will this incident affect Gambia-Senegal bilateral relations, especially given our close security cooperation under ECOMIG?
Well, Gambia-Senegal bilateral ties span across different multiple sectors, from energy to so many other issues. Mm-hmm. So I think an incident like this, yes, can create some discomfort, but I don't think it can have an overall negative impact on our relationship. It's something that even you and your neighbor, sometimes you can have a spat and you resolve it and you move on. It doesn't really spoil the relationship.
True.
Yeah.
Hi, Peter. This unfortunate incident has happened, but let's try to solve this issue amicably. The Gambia and Senegal must work together to identify and mark our borders once and for all to prevent such recurrence. Let us not be too emotional with this issue. Let us avoid escalating this unfortunate incident. And this is from Rodin Rena.
Always spot on, Rodin. Always spot on.
Yeah. Good morning, both. If Senegal is older than the Gambia in terms of independence, that is what they are using in all angles, because it is not only a border issue, but Senegal is always using Gambia as fools. Why demolishing the fence now in Barrow's time, and the fence was there during Jammeh's time?
So actual defense wasn't there during Jammeh's time. And I think that also was some misinformation that the public is also being informed with. The fence wasn't there during Jammeh's time. They started constructing the fence recently, and because of when they started, and then it was brought to the attention that this might be in this, and it was stopped. They stopped constructing the fence, so that after this issue is resolved, they can continue. So it wasn't built under Jammeh's time. That should be very clear.
This is a government of press conferences where they just go on to deny everything and deceive the population with their false promises that they are working to resolve issues. Why the foot dragging and the never-ending so-called diplomatic engagements while the obvious signs were in the open around Dar Silame with intermittent clashes? So the writing has long been on the wall, this text is suggesting.
Well, like I said, I'm not privy to that information. What I can tell you is that people have the right to their opinion in terms of how you perceive this government to be. Government of press conferences, government of light, that's an opinion that people can have on this government. What we are focusing on is to do what we think is right for the Gambian people, and that is what we are doing, to ensure that we don't only provide for Gambians their needs today, but also prepare Gambia for the future, and that is what we are working on. And that includes across multiple sectors, and including even mentioning our territorial security, and that we are working on that. And that is something that we really take very seriously as a government.
Hello, Uncle Peter. Kindly inform the authorities concerned that the newly built road in Tauto and Jabang is being washed away bit by rainwater between the anti-crime and Jabang roundabout.
Well, I'm not sure what they mean by washed away. We need to see the...
Washed away?
Yeah, but...
Eaten away? Eroded?
But I'm not sure about that. We need to make sure that we see exactly what is happening. You see, Esther, I was thinking, and it occurred to me sometimes how things can be very interesting in this country, where people, like I said, I've said this before, some people will just find a small fault and aggravate it and make it look like the whole system is broken. Now, you have a government that has built thousands of kilometers of roads in this country. They built Hakalang, they built Kiang West, they built bridges. Recently, the Garawal road is finished, and so on and so forth. Now, you go to a road that is still under construction. It is not done yet. And it rained, and there is some rainwater standing, which is obviously natural. It can happen. And you take a photo of that, and you make that a big problem, like the whole country is not working. I was reading Facebook recently, And I saw that in North Bank, there is some road, NIA is doing some road works there. And because of those road
NRA?
NRA.
Okay.
They created a diversion. That diversion, when it rained heavily, it had a kind of some kind of effects on the diversion. And someone took a photo of that and posted it and said, Barrow must go. I'm like, Barrow has built thousands of kilometers of roads in this country. Critical roads that have changed lives in this country. The Hakalanks, the Kiangwa. And then there's a slight problem in a very, secluded area. And you say, because of that problem, Barrow must go. Now you go to the market, and because there's filth everywhere, Barrow must go. I mean, and sometimes listen, and these are people who are supposed to be educated. And any slight problem, even if Barrow coughs, Barrow must go. We don't change leaders like that. Let's look at the overall, let's do an assessment of his overall performance, and not just to look at small things where there are gaps or challenges, and he must go because of those small gaps. What about the other achievements? And today, if you ask a Gambian, in every sector, if I ask a Gambian, what is wrong in that sector? If they tell me 2 things, I can tell them 10 that is going well in that sector. And that is the fact. And if I ask you what is wrong in the health sector, if you tell me 2 things that is wrong, that's why you will stop, I can tell you 10 that is going well in that sector. That should be the assessment. Nobody gets 100%. No leader gets 100%. Even intelligent students don't get 100% in their class examinations. You get 87, 89, 90%. The 10% is something that you realize that you need to work hard on. We're not saying the government is perfect, like I said, but at least there are improvements. You cannot tell me that in every sector it is worse today than it was in 2017. No, it's not happening. Even the opposition agrees to that.
Okay. Somebody saying, good morning, Uncle Peter. Sorry, we understand that the Gambian farmers at the border are also sent away and stopped from farming on their farms.
Well, like I said, I've also seen this online, and I think it's all part of the broader problem, and we are trying to resolve it. Well, it will be resolved. That one we can assure you. We are working hard on that.
And apparently, somebody saying, Uncle Peter, it seems just yesterday there were border issues again around Jimbala in Lower Salom and Njau in Upper Salom. Is doctor aware? Apparently, this is just expanding and spreading and spreading.
Well, it will be if it's
we thought it was only confined to the Fonies, but now you are now.
I'm yet to get information on that, so I cannot comment on that. But I think tomorrow during the press conference, the authorities will get the chance to answer all those questions.
The minister does not seem to have a grasp of international diplomacy. Jao is absolutely right. This is in response now to D.A. Jao's piece. ECOWAS in principle and AU only encourage term limits, whether you have it in your laws or not. Leaders not adhering to this principle in their nations cannot propagate it as an ECOWAS chairman is expected to do. Worse still, openly promising to hand over after 3 years and failing to do so did not help his international reputation. This is Barrow, I suppose. The international community heard and applauded this promise, and it is clear that it has not been kept. To say that Barrow does not aspire for the position out of consideration of cost to the nation is cheap. We all know Barrow accepts even little known and unworthy awards and praises.
That's an opinion again. I cannot go on a debate with someone who doesn't know what's happening. That's whatever he thinks. What I can tell you, and with certainty, is that President Barrow himself did not desire to take the position, and that is a fact. And anybody can dispute that. That's your choice. That is what is happening. So Gambia is not having a term limit on our constitution, so it is not a consideration that I can guarantee you. Now, if this person thinks that I don't understand the international diplomacy, fine, he understands it better than me. But also, information I got, he doesn't have it. And that information is Barrow himself doesn't want to be the ECOWAS chair.
Okay.
That is why he is not.
Okay. Hi, Uncle Peter. I think Doctor is self-contradicting. If Unite's single comment on this matter disqualifies them from being able to run government, but refuses UDP's comment that he tagged mature being not enough to run the Gambia, isn't that contradiction? So
that is not contradiction.
UDP gets a right only once, and you're saying that is not a basis to say, well, they are ready for government. So if you unite, on this one single, issue, gets it wrong, you cannot disqualify them wholesale
gets it
for
wrong
government.
On every issue.
Sorry.
On every issue, they've got it wrong. And my assessment is based on that. But on every issue, they got it wrong. And they've clearly, consistently, in a very sustained manner, shown that they are not experienced. And if you look at the people who are supposed to be in a potential unite cabinet, just look at the people. Because normally in a
Who are those people? I don't know them.
People
Who are
like
they?
MC Cham.
What's wrong with MC Cham?
A gigolo.
The what?
A gigolo.
Really?
Yeah. What is he going to be doing cabinet? What is he going? Government is a serious business, Peter. Let's be serious. Let's bring serious people to run this government.
And you don't think MC Cham is serious enough to be in government?
He can't even run a council. He's not even fit to be.
Nobody has entrusted him with a council yet.
What I'm saying is that he can't even run a serious nursery school. Let alone.
You don't know that. You haven't given him you haven't given him a nursery school to run yet.
Listen. This is someone, we all know each other. We all know everybody's capacity, what everybody can do. A gigolo cannot do anything in government. Because you cannot even take care of yourself. How can you take care of a government? That is the fact. So, you see, you shouldn't do that for women. What must harit? Mamonla?
Okay.
So
MC Cham is only one person in Unite. Who else?
All those people around him. I don't want to go into personalities. What I can guarantee.
Yeah, but you did that with MC Cham. So why would you single out MC Cham?
What I can tell you is that because he's been seen as the puppy of
Ismaila, I mean.
No, I'm right because whenever you touch UNI, he's the one who runs to go and attack.
Just as you are doing for Barrow.
No, I'm defending government. A lot of
people will say you defend Barrow more than you defend the government.
Because people don't know the difference between government and Barrow. I defend the government policies and I make sure.
Well, for instance, there are so many issues here about government that you haven't been able to answer because you said you didn't sit with those ministers. But anything about Barrow that has come up, you've pushed against fiercely.
President Barrow is the president of the Republic. Therefore,
confirming that you are more about defending Barrow than the government you claim to defend.
No, what I'm saying is that I defend I defend every sector in this platform, except where I don't have the information. I defend every sector.
Exactly.
And I don't only defend every sector, but I also consistently promote the policies and programs of those sectors. Consistently. Okay. From agriculture, from
Which
security.
Which is what MC Cham is doing for Unite.
No, not on policy basis, on personal basis. On personal basis. What is important is that, just to answer this question, is that consistently in a sustained manner, they've shown not to have what it takes, the experience, the wisdom, and the cool-headedness to run a government.
Good morning, Uncle Peter. Please tell Ismaila that term limit is not a miracle we wait on God to deliver to us. There is no term limit in the Gambia because his boss, Barrow, doesn't want it.
Well, again, an opinion. The president is a fan of term limits. He wants term limits. That is why he put term limit in both constitutions he took to parliament. Unfortunately, it wasn't passed.
How will the Gambia government tackle migration issues and environmental challenges? Because these are some of the things discussed in Freetown. So somebody is taking us now to the agenda of the ECOWAS meeting in Freetown. Migration issues.
Well, we are doing everything possible to deal with migration. It's a very complex issue, and we have basically three approaches. One is expanded surveillance. That is why every time you hear that immigration has intercepted people who are potential irregular migrants, on that front, we've equipped the immigration officials and security forces to deal with that situation. Secondly, we are also making sure we provide ample opportunities for young people to stay in this country, which is this. So that the push factors don't really have an effect, so that young people have opportunities in this country through entrepreneurship, through skills training, and so on and so forth. The third approach is advocacy and sensitization. Government is spending money on that to make sure that we advocate and sensitize our young people to stay and make best use of those opportunities. I think these are the three policies of government.
And somebody says, I agree it is dangerous for Gambians to escalate the border issue because if you understand the Senegalese statement, they said they are frustrated that all engagements have not led to a commitment by the Gambia to address the border issue. More importantly, Senegal said the Bullock incident is an act designed to get a prompt action over a broader border issue, or rather border, conversation, meaning there are other areas in contention. That is clear from reports of certain activities in other border areas. The fact is, the new authorities in Senegal are impatient, and something should be done to avoid further misunderstanding.
Exactly. So like I said, our government is a government with huge experience, particularly in the field of geopolitics and diplomacy. And that is why we are resolving the issue amicably using all diplomatic channels. And I think that will yield benefits for both countries. And that is our approach.
Yeah.
Jar Oil. The company have filling stations across the country, and our rates are relatively cheaper than anyone else across the country. Jar Oil is the biggest producer and distributor of cement in the country with the most competitive prices in the market.
sant yàlla.
looy xaar utal Wave nga scan nga fay te nag doo ci yokku dara.
If you're an entrepreneur and your business is not yet registered, if you're looking to grow your registered business, or you're an accomplished professional, our Elevate program supports you with access to finance, access to markets, access to capacity building. Sign up now or refer a friend at ecobank.com/elevate. Elevate by EcoBank. A better way, a better Africa.